The hardest part about anything is literally just starting. Whenever I record podcasts, like the hardest part is like, what's the first thing I should say? And if I just start anywhere, then the energy begins to flow. The words come in, momentum is created. Then I'm like, oh, this is just easy. So it's a metaphor for life, my loves. That thing that's on your heart, that project that you want to create, that courageous conversation that you want to have. Sometimes when I'm writing and I'm experiencing a little bit of writer's block or whatever, I literally just write. Like the first line that I write is, I have no idea where to start. And even just the act of saying, I have no idea where to start, opens the energy up, opens the inspiration. I'm in action. There's something really energizing about momentum, right? When we're in momentum, it's the laws of the universe. Things that are in momentum want to be kept in momentum, right? But if we're sitting on it and we're stalling and we're judging ourselves for not taking action, we're just going to be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then that artistry, that inspiration, that creativity just begins to kind of die in our bodies. And we don't want that. We want to extract it from our bodies and share it with the world. If this is your first time here, what's up and welcome to the Can't Be Contained podcast. All right, this episode has been on my heart for a little while now. And what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to walk us through the stages of the hero's journey as it pertains to Joseph Campbell's iconic The Hero's Journey. But I'm going to break it down even more and relate it to personal development, relate it to the path that we all take to dive into ourselves and excavate the shit that is in our body so that we can just unite deeper with our true selves. And so that is what today's episode is all about. I am so excited. In a couple hours, I'm jumping online with one of our master coaches here at Pause Breathwork, and we are doing a live somatic experience online so we can kind of demonstrate and show you guys the power of somatic healing and the power of somatic coaching and just what is truly possible when we get into our bodies and we allow ourselves to truly feel through our emotionality and use our bodies as a vessel for transformation. Really use our bodies as a vessel for transformation. And so if you want to attend one of those events, just make sure you're on our Instagrams. We will post content and then we'll post a word, like the word somatic live, for instance. You can go and pop that on social media and we'll give you an invitation to our next session. Or maybe you're listening and you're like, I just want to be a somatic coach. Like that sounds so exciting for me. I want to use the body as a healer, and I want to not only do this work for myself, but I want to do it for my clients as well. Come on over to Instagram at Samantha Skelly. Just send me a DM. I'll give you a link to apply to become a coach. Our team is masterful in bringing people through this work. Not only will your life change in beautiful, amazing ways, but you'll have the tools and the capacity to be able to bring this work into the world in just such a big way. So come on over to Instagram, send me a message, and I will hook you up with the link. All right, let's get right into today's episode. Can't be contained. That's what I'm talking about. All right, the hero's journey. If you've been in my world for a little while now, I reference Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey often because I think this body of work or this framework is so relevant for moving through personal development and really being on this path of bettering ourselves, getting to know who we truly are, releasing limitations, releasing doubts. And I remember when I first jumped into somatic work, when I first jumped into I'm not going to put Band-Aids on bullet wounds anymore with mindset coaching and behavior change. I'm going to get to the freaking depths and really change my life from the inside out. And I thought the journey would be linear. I'm like, today's the day I start. And then it just gets better and better and better and better and better and better. And it does, but it goes through this cyclical journey where we go through these stages of the hero's journey, which is the call to adventure, the refusal of the call, the acceptance of the call, crossing the threshold, tests, allies, and enemies, approach to the inmost cave, the ordeal, the reward, the road back, the resurrection, and return with the elixir. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about how that is just so insanely relevant for our personal development journeys. And we cycle through this over and over and over and over and over and over again. In my life right now, I am in the hero's journey at different stages in different areas of my life. In one phase of my life, say in my relationship, for instance, I could be at the final stage of the cycle where I'm returning with the elixir, right? I went through some really intense stuff that brought me to my knees, and I needed mentorship and I needed support. And then I'm like, wow, I made it. We're back, right? And then maybe in my health, I'm at a roadblock where I'm like, God, this sucks. This is really intense. Like, I don't want to be in this experience anymore. And there's like the frustration that's coming up and all of that kind of stuff. So we hit these at different levels and different stages of our life constantly all the time. And so what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to walk you through these stages and find yourself in them. Right? Find yourself in them. I think sometimes when we're on a personal development journey and we are caught in the cave and we're like, God, this is so dark. This is so intense. The ego can be like, you're fucking it up. You're doing it wrong, you know, when really that's not true. You are excavating, you are clearing, you are letting go, you are becoming more wise. So here we go. Number one, the call to adventure. Right? The call to adventure. I remember when I was working as a waitress and I had that call to adventure. The call that was like, mindset coaching is not just the thing, Sam. There's something in the body that is stirring within, like a deep yearning for growth and transformation, right? There's like this opportunity to embark on a journey. Yeah. And then number two, we've got the refusal of the call, right? Initially, I remember myself just hesitating, right? I was doubting my readiness. I was doubting my ability to embark on this journey. There was this part of me that's like, what if I find something that I don't like? What if I find out that I actually don't like myself? Life's pretty good right now. It's pretty cruisy. Like, what if that changes? What would that mean? What would that mean for me? What would that mean for my life, my world, my family? So there's like the refusal of the call, the fear of the unknown, doubting my ability to do it. I remember feeling this like reluctancy to leave my comfort zone. This is the phase, my loves, where the small self may try and take over. The small self may try and take over. And it's so important for us to realize, like, observe that part, but do not listen to it. Observe the part of you that is trying to keep you small, but please, for the love of God, do not listen to it. The third step is the acceptance of the call. Right? This is powerful. It's like, all right, despite my doubts, despite the fears, I recognize the potential for growth and healing. Like I realize that me overcoming myself and me committing to the unknown and doing it with courage and openness, there's going to be something dope on the other side, right? There's going to be something cool. So I really, truly remember that feeling of like, all right, I accept this. Like, I know if I want to create transformation in the world, I got to do the work first and not just quote unquote do the work or do the surface work or make it look good. It's like, I got to get to like the deepest, darkest, messiest places inside of me to excavate everything that is not who I actually am. Yeah. And then number four, it's like crossing the threshold, right? Crossing the threshold. This is where we really go into that place of exploration, of self reflection, This is where we decide to leave behind, my loves. Like we are leaving behind everything that is distracting us from our soul's path, everything that is not a vibrational match for who we are. And this does not mean we need to, quit our jobs and leave all of our friends and like sell all of our belongings. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a energetic crossing of the threshold that happens at this stage 4, crossing of the threshold. Naturally, what happens later is when we are so embodied in this new energy, when we are so excited about this new place of being, everything that is not a vibrational match for where we're at will fall away, but you don't need to do that yourself. You don't need to be like, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. It happens naturally. That's the beauty of energy. Energy is intelligent. Yeah. All right. So then we're crossing the threshold. We've made a decision. We've changed our identity. We've let it all behind. We're saying, not another day, not another minute, not another second. I am not living as that person anymore. I am changing. We are crossing the threshold. And then we encounter stage 5, tests, allies, and enemies. So throughout this journey, you will encounter inner challenges, right? A lot of these are not external, by the way. It's like internal challenges, your doubts, your fears, all the things come up. This stage is really interesting when my students go through the pause breathwork facilitator training or our somatic coaching certification. This stage is like, woo! They get in, they're so pumped, they're so excited, like, let's go, life will never be the same. And then they meet themselves and they're like, Sam, I don't know about this. And I'm like, I know about this because I know exactly where you are right now. The test, the allies, and the enemies, okay? And then it gets worse. It gets worse. Then we go into the inmost cave, right? So as we stay with it, as we breathe through it moment by moment, we get into this place of just deep introspection and vulnerability. You will be confronted with your inner demons, your fears, your insecurities, but bravery is developed in the depths here, despite all of this. And this is where we get to uncover the hidden truths. You will develop this deep level of self respect, self love, just like real excitement, real excitement. Yeah. There's going to be duality here because the somatic experience of the cave is like, oh my God, the world's ending. But then there's also this part of you that is holding truth and holding light. And so there's duality. Okay, then we get into the ordeal, right? So there'll be those pivotal moments where you underground profound inner shifts and transformations, right? You're going to still be facing the emotional up level, the inner turmoil, the moments of intense insight. This is like, you guys have probably heard me talk about the bathroom breakdown moments where you're just in the bathroom and you're just crying and you've got mascara down your face and you're like, what is going on? Like, God, have you forgotten about me? Because this is a little too intense. Like, I don't like this right now, right? And this is the place, my loves, of death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. We are always dying and rebirthing moment by moment. Okay. Then we move on to the reward. After confronting those inner challenges and undergoing those shifts, you emerge from the ordeal with a sense of clarity, healing, empowerment. You truly receive the reward of self awareness, inner peace, personal growth. This is the place where I always call it like the baby stage, where after the ordeal and you like excavate all this stuff and you're like dying and rebirthing, the reward stage is like, I'm a baby. like, what is this life all about? You know what I mean? That's kind of what it feels like. It's like this very interesting Bambi comes to mind. It's like Bambi like finding their feet, like what is going on? Right. So we're here, right? There's like this heightened self-awareness, this inner peace, this clarity. We're like, wow, I really did that. I always experience this feeling of like, I'm a badass. Like I just did that. I didn't avoid my pain. I went right through it. It felt so good. Yeah. And then Then we've got the road back. Okay. So as we begin to see the light, we're feeling more confident, we're coming out of that baby stage, then we're really integrating these lessons back into our life. Like we're like, wow, I can't believe I was awake for that. Like I can't believe I was sleeping through my life. I can't believe I didn't see that this thing was holding me back so much, right? So this is the road back. This is how we come back to this place of like, wow, there's strength gained from this experience, right? There may be still in this road back part of the journey challenges or obstacles, but you have this newfound strength. And then the next stage is the resurrection, right? This is a symbolization of a symbolic death and rebirth, shedding old patterns, really embracing your true self. You're like, "Oh, this is who I am." Right? At this stage, you're emerging, transformed, embodying this sense of purpose, this sense of like passion. I always feel like really excited, like I'm back. This like authenticity is there. And then the final stage of this is returning with the elixir, right? You return back to your ordinary world. And again, as I'm sharing this, it's not like you went on a big old trip and came back. It's like nothing has changed in the external world. You were still at your work. You were still doing your thing. You were still, cooking spaghetti and meatballs for dinner, whatever it is. But everything is changing in your inner world because you're undergoing this incredible hero's journey, right? So you carry back with you insights, tools, lessons, right? The lessons that you learned through this beautiful hero's journey is what helps you empower and empower yourself so that you can empower others. And this is how we stop looping in personal development, but we're constantly moving through this cyclical cycle of the hero's journey. And I'm sure if I was to sit down with every single one of you listening to this podcast right now, there's hundreds of thousands of you listening to this podcast, you could tell me in your life where you're at, right? Where you're at. And why I love this so much is because when you're in the ordeal, it is supposed to be hard, my love. It is supposed to feel crappy. It's not supposed to feel like the return with the elixir. It's not supposed to feel like that or the resurrection. It's supposed to feel like, dang, this is really intense. This is really, really, really intense. Yeah. And so I am stoked to teach you this and to share this with you because it helps normalize the pattern of this personal development journey that we are all on. It brings lightness, it brings ease, it brings like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is amazing. And so my invitation for you would be to write these down and when you're going through these stages and those moments where you're like, will I ever get out of this? Like, what if I never come back? I remember a couple months ago, full transparency and honesty, I was just going through a really, really, really hard patch, and there was this part of my ego, this part of my mind that was like, you're not coming back from this. Like, you're stuck here. I don't know what to tell you, Sam. Like, this is weird. This is just your baseline now. You're not gonna come back to your joyful, funny, effervescent, like happy-go-lucky self. Like you are in the cave for the rest of your life. That was it. And it was just so interesting how there was literally a part of my ego that convinced me of that. And I came to this hero's journey and I was like, babe, talking to myself, I'm like, you're in the freaking cave, girlfriend. Like, use it. Use the pain. Use the uncomfort. Like, use it. And don't believe that your ego telling you that you can't do this or it's too hard or you're not going to get out of this. Like, use the energy to transform because you're going to look back on this and go, I'm so proud of you. I am so freaking proud of you. And guys, that's literally exactly what happened. Now being on the other side of this, I'm like, wow, dang, that was boot camp for the freaking soul. And I'm so grateful that I went through that. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity of meeting myself in those dark places to excavate all that was not a fit to really move into feeling aligned and alive and excited and powerful and the rest of it. So in these times, refer back to this, and I'll go through them one more time. The call to adventure, refusal of the call, acceptance of the call, crossing the threshold, test allies and enemies, approach to the inmost cave, the ordeal, the reward, the road back, resurrection, return with the elixir. All right. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Can't Be Contained podcast. It would mean the world to me. And it really, 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 really helps if you can rate this show, give us 5 stars, write a review. Let us know if this was useful, powerful for you. And if you think this episode would serve someone in your life that you love, just go on and send it to them and say, yo, listen to this. It's powerful. It's going to help you. All right, you guys, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. To all of my breathing angels all over the world who are using breathwork to transform their bodies, their minds, their souls, their hearts, and sharing this work with the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This mission would be nothing without you. And it's just so amazing to see all of my alumni out in the world, doing this work in the world, running retreats, serving people, just making money, doing the work that lights up your soul. You guys are so amazing. I'm so grateful for each of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to all of my listeners, you guys are the best. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we will catch you soon. Goodbye.
Can't be contained.